Boxing King Media were delighted to be joined by trainer, manager, promoter, anything else I've missed out, Stefy?
Cutman, hand rapper,
there you go.
Matchmaker,
so
cup of tea maker, cleaner. I don't clean toilets in my gym.
All right.
No.
There you go, bit of everything.
If I get paid, I do it.
2021, Stefy. Would I right in saying that's probably the most successful year you've had in the role that you're in post-fighting?
Arguably, as a manager, arguably, been blessed to, when pandemic were in its, what would you, in its most serious, and when it was peaking, we had some great nights, and just when I look back, and Terry's 2 fights behind closed doors, so as a coach, they were unreal. I mean, Terry were in the first ever fight camp, and the strictness, when I look back, it were unreal. When we got to that hotel, we were ushered from going in, testing, into your room, couldn't come out your room. You could come out your room for 1 hour into a gym, nobody else in. When media were in, it were crazy. Even your food come to your door, knocked on the door, open your door, you took it into your room. We weren't even allowed to mix. So Ray, Terry, it were only 1 boxer plus 2 then. So all your team weren't there. When you look back, it were really, really strict. So to experience that, I'm like, it were quite special, because it's something that probably may never happen again, fingers crossed. Then when Terry boxed the second fight, that were like an holiday camp. It were like being in Butlins. It were fantastic. In Hilton Hotel, massive. We had pool tables, darts table, tennis, buffet. We were allowed to walk out like on a balcony and up and down and stretch your legs. That were fantastic. So to go from that to that, it was so different. And then Max Hughes, when he fought John O'Carroll at that time on one of MTKs, that wasn't as strict as them, but so the contrast of being in big, like Terry's world title fights, Max Hughes were just a 10-rounder his first fight with John O'Carroll, and then Jason's big win against Gamal Yafai. So when you look, really, yeah, it was quite special to be honest. So probably I was saying it on my social media, and before Terry's last world title, at one time we'd in Doncaster, we're a town, we're not a city. From these little mining villages, we've got Max Hughes, who at the time really has won British, WBC International and IBO world title. Jason's just beat at the time Gamal, and they only had 3 weeks notice, and it were crazy odds for him to be winning that fight. And Terry as WBC champion, like unreal to like win, have them major honours, and for me to like it in a manager's role for them all, it may never be done again in my time. So you've got to take that.
I'm just going to mention, start off with Maxi. Obviously, you're always talking about it on your socials about, you know, coming from a small town, Denby, Conisborough. Did you ever think, within 12 months, Maxi Hughes, his name is going to be mentioned alongside people like David Haney, Ryan Garcia?
Not at all. Max is from the other side of Doncaster. He's Rosington, okay. But exactly the same, these kind of areas. But not at all. No, absolutely not at all. I mean, just a little one. Him and Jason, they were both from same amateur club, Donny Plant, and them two will have travelled up and down country as juniors in back of Ken Blood's car, going up and down country and in little working men's clubs and stuff like that. But do you know, Maxi is like, I mean, Boxing News have released that thing this week at top 10 fighters. He's not in that. I mean, Jason's in it, rightly so, but Maxi should be in it. I mean, like, it's unreal what he did. And even down to when we got offered the Mexican for IBO world title, it were like, it were in away corner, even though it were in his own town. He just beat, done a demolition job on Tennyson, and he wasn't supposed to win that. And it's crazy. So, no, I would never have predicted it whatsoever. I mean, my goal, my aspirations for Maxi would have been to be British champion. He's been at this game years. He's at that level. He's had controversial decisions with Ward. he's took his licks and come back, and he deserved a British title, but it's just crazy. And do you know what? He's a lovely kid, and now with the following he's getting on social media, and he's got a fantastic personality, proper dry Yorkshireman, his wit and things. And I think people are clicking onto him and growing fond of him because he's got a great personality, and everything that he gets, he deserves because he's worked so hard for it.
Where do you think he could realistically go next? You know, what's the impact?
Well, do you know what? I mean, Maxi, on his run, he deserves what you'd call, let's pick an opponent, let him have a routine win. But there's no routine wins when you win these major titles. But I think Maxi, without a doubt, I think he's in and around, defend this and have a world title eliminator. If you don't get a voluntary option, what about a world title eliminator against a genuine top 10 fighter to test, to see where he can be? But 100%, I think he's capable of being a major title contender without a doubt. I mean, can you name me 4 or 5 lightweights that are running in front of him for an opportunity? He deserves one. So yeah.
Do you think the fact that he's got them losses on his record, that may always, for us, from a selling point, from a promoter, might be different?
So yeah, without a doubt, he'll knock that edge off, won't it?
Casual fans
he's been riding. He's been riding away as this Cinderella Man story, but he's not the Cinderella Man now. He's not. That tag's gone. He's sat up there. He's deservingly. But it's like we're on about it with Jason. You can't buy experience. You can't have the experience of a defeat and have to come back and mentally, and you can't buy that. And time, it's time served, and he's served his time. And where he's at is because of hard work, and they're willing to take a gamble. How many fighters nowadays will take a gamble?
Unless the money's right.
Yeah.
And then moving on to Terri, obviously spoke to her quite extensively earlier. She seems like she's got over, what happened, and she's looking for the next challenge.
Yeah.
Which is fighting on the Lee Wood-Conlan undercard. You as a trainer, you've obviously seen her from day one. What do you think she's going to bring? I know she's fought a lightweight before, but now that she's going to be trained to fight a lightweight in top 10 fights, what do you expect to see from Terri?
Well, it's like, I've always banged the drum with Terri. That's why we're in this position where we're at. I think she is a big name in female boxing, and I've had a banter with you before regarding when I was a 23-year-old when she beat Wallstrom at 20. She's 25, and it's like, you know what I mean? She's learning on the job. She didn't have any GB amateur experience. She had 16 amateur fights as a kid, so she's learnt all this on the job. She beat Eva Wallstrom after 9 fights. When you go and win a WBC world title against a genuine pound-for-pound fighter, which Eva Wallstrom was, there's no step backs. There's only going forward. And that's where we've been going. And she's been doing a fantastic job. It just come to a point where we've outgrown the super featherweight division, and it just become too hard to maintain. And the time off, injured and not having the chance to make a weight for a fight, just took its toll. And this happens in boxing. We're in a weight-making sport, and she's growing all the time and developing. She's very athletic, and she'll be a real threat at lightweight. Obviously, Katie's got all the belts there. We're in our lane. We're not jumping in here, Eddie, we want that fight, or on social media. We know where we're at. We know what we've got to do. We're back to the drawing board, but we will be in world-class fights. We're not going to go and fight your average Joes. We want to be in something exciting. When we're in 10-week training camps and still making weight and hard work and studying, we're not going to do that against somebody who we know we can win before the bell goes. We want to be in that. That will help Terry's career. I think I've done a great job to get Terry where she's at, and we'll be fighting world-rated fighters, and she will have 3 fights over the next 9 months. So she'll be at in March, then she'll be at May, June, and again in September, and then we'll assess it by end of year, what path and what we're going to route. But at the minute, we're back to the drawing board, and I think Terry's going to bring some real excitement in lightweight division, and she'll be talked about outside of your Katie Taylors and your Serranos. She's a while off them. We're 12 months away. Let's get back to work. Let's get back winning, but let's be in proper fights.
Obviously, as a manager trainer, you're always looking ahead where you could potentially take her. Is it a realistic goal maybe in 12 months' time whoever wins this Serrano Taylor fight, Kate, you know, Terri fighting one of them.
Yeah, 100%. Of course, I'd be stupid to say not. What to say no? Like that, you know, that could be a long saga. There'll be a rematch clause. So if Amanda was to win that fight, then there'll be a rematch clause, and it'll go on. Then there's 4 or 5 titles. They'll all have mandatories. You can't just keep going on. You know, you're gonna have governing when you've got fighters at #1 contenders. At minute, that lightweight division has not been as heavy. All these super featherweights, they'll have to move up. Mayer will move up. They'll all move up. They're all young women, and they'll all want to. It's hard work making that weight, and like you say, they'll all want to go through the weights. So it'll be a time where all the titles will come free, and they'll stagger out to other governing bodies. But I just think it'll be, you know, we could be 12 months away. But yeah, realistically, that's what we've got to be aiming for. They're the super fights, and they're going to bring the super paydays, which these fighters deserve. So yeah, definitely.
And just to wrap up, Stefy, I know you're a big advocate in women's boxing. But there's another big advocate in women's boxing, Jake Paul.
Yeah.
What do you think of the stuff he's doing, and obviously the money he's paying, you know, publicly, obviously saying that he's paid, you know, Serrano over $1 million.
Yeah.
What do you think of that and the stuff he's
Well, I mean, regarding all this fiasco, listen, if he's earning some dough and people are watching, crack on. I don't agree with this it's not pro boxing. So you can't have an opinion, and you've got to pat him up back and think good for you. But yeah, he seems to be a big advocate of women's boxing. He's really pushing Serrano, and even I read something the other day that he's having a few months off fighting so he can promote that fight with Eddie and DAZN, or that's if it is going on DAZN. I'm not even quite sure about that, but brilliant. Why not?
What's going to happen? Because I'm thinking ahead. If Serrano wins that fight with Katie, Stefy Bull and Jake Paul on the same stage, what's going to happen?
I say, if it makes money, it makes sense. They're saying, but yeah, now you're not getting another glove on me. But listen, it's a business, and he's bringing in the numbers and he's bringing in the viewers.
You know, potentially you guys on the stage.
Yeah, that'd be fun, wouldn't it?
That's what
I like to hold my own and voice an opinion. But you know, like I said, I'm not. Do you know what, mate? I'm really not looking dead. We've got a big fight on March 12th. Then you know that's first and foremost. But we have got a plan of three fights in 9 months. So we're in the lane. We're going. We know what we've got to do. Plenty to work on. Big nights. Get that experience, and it's biggest thing for Terri is get back to winning ways and mentally get that defeat out your head and show everyone that you're much better than what happened on the night.
Right, Stefy, I think on that note, if you can top 2021, you're probably going to be sat on a beach in Dubai somewhere this time next year.
I can't afford Dubai. I'm happy with Tenerife, mate.
Well, I think you will be if you top 2021.
Yeah, definitely.
Right. Thank you for your time, mate.
No problem.
We'll catch up soon.